Let's dive right into this explainer. We're looking at a century of secrets beneath the sea. It's a continuous, gripping narrative of love, tragedy, and survival, drawn directly from the deeply moving transcripts of the Titanic. It's a story that perfectly bridges the gap between cold, deep-sea forensics and the raw pulse of human emotion. Section 1. The Modern Expedition. We actually begin in the present day with treasure hunter Brock Lovett. He's out on a research ship in the North Atlantic, literally scouring the ocean floor, 3,821 meters down, for a fabled diamond called the Heart of the Ocean. But get this, instead of uncovering a priceless jewel in some rusted safe, his robot submersibles find a perfectly preserved 84-year-old drawing of a young woman wearing it. And that leads right to the sudden arrival of 100-year-old Rose Calvert, which instantly shifts our entire focus. She literally calls up the expedition, claiming to be the very woman in that drawing. When she steps aboard the research ship and starts looking at her old possessions recovered from the wreck, the narrative completely pivots from clinical scientific exploration to a deeply human story. As she beautifully puts it, it's been 84 years and she can still smell the fresh paint of the vessel the world called the Ship of Dreams. Which brings us to Section 2, the Ship of Dreams. Let's jump back to 1912 as we follow young Rose boarding the magnificent, massive, and supposedly unsinkable Titanic. She's alongside her wealthy, aristocratic fiancé, Cal Hockley, and her very demanding mother. Now, to everyone else, the Titanic is this absolute masterpiece of scale and luxury. But to Rose, it's something entirely different. You see this stark contrast right away. On one hand, you have Rose, who feels utterly trapped in what she describes as a high society slave ship, plunging ahead with an inertia she's powerless to stop. And on the other hand, we meet Jock Dawson. He's a penniless artist who actually just won his third-class ticket in a remarkably lucky hand of poker, like 5 minutes before departure. He's a total free spirit, navigating the world with nothing but air in his lungs and blank sheets of paper. This sets the stage for Section 3, an unlikely romance. A crucial turning point happens on a freezing evening when a desperate Rose, feeling like she's standing at a great precipice with no one to pull her back, contemplates jumping off the stern of the ship. But she's talked down by Jack. He bluntly warns her about the freezing water, hitting like 1,000 knives, and, more importantly, he tells her that he's involved now, promising her that if she jumps, he's jumping in right after her. For saving her, Jack is rewarded with an invitation to a very rigid first-class dinner. But rather than being intimidated, he totally charms his way through a room full of millionaires. He articulates his whole philosophy that life is a gift meant to be lived freely, urging them to, make each day count. And right after this stuffy dinner, he pulls Rose down to a raucous, joyous third-class dance, proving to her what it really means to live without constraints. Completely defying her mother's strict orders and Cal's violent jealousy, Rose eventually seeks Jack out at the bow of the ship. There, she steps onto the railing, closes her eyes, and experiences this moment of absolute soaring freedom. She's flying. This deep connection naturally leads them back to her stateroom for an intimate session where Jack sketches her wearing absolutely nothing but that Heart of the Ocean diamond. Then everything changes in Section 4, Collision and Betrayal. While Jack and Rose are hiding in a cargo hold deep within the ship, running from Cal's enforcer, the ship's massive hull fatally scrapes against a hidden iceberg. They literally watch as freezing water immediately begins to flood those lower compartments. The ship's builder lays out a truly terrifying timeline. The ship bumps the ice, puncturing holes along the starboard side. At the 1-hour mark, the forward compartments flood, and the water starts spilling over the watertight bulkheads at E-deck, moving from one compartment to the next. The devastating reality quickly sets in. The vessel is mathematically doomed to split and sink in under 3 hours. But amidst this rising panic, Cal and his enforcer Lovejoy execute a coldly calculated betrayal. They plant the Heart of the Ocean right in Jack's pocket, framing him for theft. This ensures Jack is arrested and handcuffed to a pipe deep in the belly of the ship, left in the master-at-arms office just as the freezing water is relentlessly rushing in. We move into the chaos of Section 5, Sinking and Survival. Up on the boat deck, total panic is setting in. The horrifying truth is finally revealed to the passengers. There are only enough lifeboats for about half the people aboard. The ship was deemed so unsinkable that extra boats were just thought to clutter the deck.
Total chaos erupts. The order "Women and Children First" is shouted over the din. First-class passengers are hastily loaded into half-empty lifeboats. Some built for 65 are being lowered with barely 20 or even 12 people aboard. Meanwhile, third-class passengers are quite literally locked behind iron gates below deck, trapped as the water rises. Refusing to leave Jack behind to die, Rose does the unthinkable. She abandons her guaranteed safety in a first-class lifeboat. She wades down into the freezing water of the lower decks, navigating these flooded crew passages. When she finds Jack trapped, she takes a massive risk, using an axe to blindly break his heavy handcuffs just in the absolute nick of time. And even later, when Cal lies about having an arrangement with an officer to secure a boat for himself and Jack, Rose sees right through the deception. Realizing she absolutely cannot leave Jack, she leaps from a lowering lifeboat back onto the doomed sinking ship. As she says, "You jump, I jump, right?" They are in this together to the very end. The climax hits with terrifying speed. As the bow sinks, it pulls the stern completely vertical, high up into the air. The immense pressure is just too much for the hull. The ship splits right down to the keel, detaches, and drags thousands of souls, including Jack and Rose, who are clinging to the stern rail, down into the icy black ocean. Which brings us to our final act, Section 6, Ocean of Secrets. In the freezing water, Jack manages to hoist Rose onto a floating wooden panel. But, realizing it cannot support them both, he makes the ultimate choice. He remains in the freezing water, sacrificing himself to ensure she stays out of that lethal cold. The numbers here are just heartbreaking. Out of 1,500 people fighting for their lives in the freezing sea, 20 half-empty lifeboats sat floating nearby in the darkness. Yet only one single boat returned. They waited too long, and that one boat saved a mere 6 souls. As Jack slowly succumbs to the paralyzing cold, he extracts one final promise from Rose: that she will survive, that she will never give up, and that she will live a long, full life. When she realizes he has passed away, she musters the absolute last of her strength. Whispering, "I'll never let go," she fulfills her promise. She lets him slip into the ocean, swims to a frozen crewman, and blows his whistle to signal that single returning boat. Aboard the rescue ship Carpathia, she's hiding among the steerage passengers to avoid Cal. When she's asked for her name, she adopts a brand new identity, Rose Dawson. By doing so, she severs all ties with her oppressive past and ensures there's no official record of Jack ever being on the ship. He exists only in her memory, while she goes on to live the adventurous, unconstrained life they had dreamed of together. Returning to the present day, Brock Lovett has a profound realization. He spent 3 years hunting a physical diamond, completely missing the true magnitude of the tragedy. It's only as old Rose finishes telling her century-old secret, sharing that a woman's heart is a deep ocean of secrets, and that Jack saved her in every way a person can be saved, that the true weight of the Titanic story is finally brought to the surface. But, unknown to everyone on that research ship, Rose has had the legendary diamond all along. In the quiet of the night, old Rose steps to the railing, opens her hands, and drops the heart of the ocean back into the dark depths of the Atlantic, returning it to the exact place where the Ship of Dreams and Jack Dawson rest forever. Knowing what you know now about the price of survival and the weight of memory, where do you believe our most precious secrets truly belong?